Thank you so much for attending my presentation about why Calyrex is going to break VGC, and first let's talk about its stats. Calyrex is a grass and psychic type legendary Pokemon with some really bad numbers, and no, I'm kidding, it's actually fucking broken. When Calyrex and either Glastrier or Spectrier are combined into one, they become completely overtuned. Calyrex Shadow is the most obviously obscene. All you really need to do is look at its two important numbers, those being 165 special attack and 150 speed. That's legit all it needs. Defense is cool too, I guess, but it's so fast and so powerful that almost nothing in the game can even touch it. Calyrex Ice is also bonkers, but it requires some more setup to get going. With just 50 speed, it'll almost never outrun anything, but that's where Trick Room comes in. Using speed reversal, it goes from the slowest thing on the field to one of the fastest, which can be very deadly. And unlike Shadow Rider, it actually has a lot of bulk, letting it take on attacks while its teammates, or even the horse itself, sets up. So what about moves? Well, first off, both have access to a stab-boosted 120 base power spread move, those being Astral Barrage and Glacial Lance. This isn't fair, achieving damage output that's completely unbalanced. Fine, but that's just one thing. Both have a plethora of resistances. The issue there is that they get busted setup. Shadow Rider has Nasty Blood and Ice Rider has Swords Dance. As much as it might seem irrelevant, neither are lacking in coverage either. Since Ice's damage is halved against 4 types, it really needs some help. Thankfully, High Horsepower lets it obliterate steals and fires, and that's actually all it runs. Glacial Lance, it's just that crazy. Shadow Rider's coverage is significantly funnier. It oftentimes runs Psychic Stab, sure makes sense, and other tools like Grass Knot, Draining Kiss, and Terra Blast can also be super helpful, but Mudshot? Hyper Beam? What's going on here? Well, in Gen 8 VGC, a Dynamax legal format, those turn into very powerful attacks that can hit its checks. Finally, their abilities. As one takes 2 separate abilities and rolls them into one insane disaster. First, Unnerve. This is fine, nothing crazy, it's just a solid effect, especially in Sword and Shield, where resist barriers are somewhat common. But the other abilities, Chilling Neigh and Grim Neigh, boost attack and special attack respectively after taking a knockout. This is kinda like Beast Boost, but on these guys it's completely overtuned. In a metagame where you can take 2 KOs in a turn, that's ending games instantly. While very strong, these two weren't overbearing in Gen 8 restricted formats. Calyrex Shadow is absolutely the best, but not always for its damage dealing. Even though it did hit really hard, its speed stat was the star of the show, enabling tons of supportive options. Eduardo Cunha, the winner of Worlds 2022, brought Calyrex Shadow carrying Will-O-Wisp and Snarl, neutering strong attackers. There were also Screens variants, Pollen Puff variants, Trick Room variants, really whatever you'd like. Ice Rider is focused on damage, operating largely in Trick Room. With the weakness policy, it could live even super effective hits and fire back for huge damage or even self-proc. Neither were at the top though, a big reason being Incineroar's dominance. The Fire Dark type with Intimidate did a great job at shutting them down and dealing lots of damage. In addition, Dynamax's doubled HP let more stuff handle these behemoths. Pretty much every single Gen 9 change benefits these two. I'll start with Calyrex Shadow, the undisputed #1 Pokemon this regulation. First, it can Terra now, escaping its weaknesses and getting better coverage. Terra Fairy Draining Kiss, for example, is very deadly and has the silly funny side effect of fucking healing it. Terra Ghost Astral Barrage also hits for way too much damage, even against resists. With only one restricted, it somehow becomes tougher to wall, made even more difficult by the removal of Dynamax. When paired with Tornadus, it becomes impossible to outspeed, necessitating very specific defensive counterplay that can be awkward to fit on teams. Calyrex Ice isn't going to be as good as its brother, but will have a very strong role. Terra is once again awesome, shedding its poor defensive typing and gaining an amazing one like Fire or Water, but even better is Clear Amulet. One of the most surefire answers to physical attackers throughout VGC history is Intimidate, but with Clear Amulet blocking the attack drop, things become way more difficult. You can't even Parting Shot it. Handling its damage output can feel legitimately impossible. In conclusion, the generation shift from 8 to 9 turned these two horses into monsters. We'll have to wait and see exactly what happens, but I have no doubt they'll dominate. Thank you so much for watching.